Hello guys, how are you doing? In this video we will talk about how to find the area of a circle, right? Practically. First you need to have a piece of paper, right? Then you have to cut it, right? With this, right? With this compass where both the ends are sharp. So I have already cut it down for you, but I just want to show you the way how could you cut it with this one. So just put it here. This is the center of the circle, and you could just do it in this way. Well, you can draw the circle, and just it will be automatically cut down, and then you can just bring it out. Okay, so you remember these, you should use this kind of compass where all the ends, both the ends are sharp, through which we can cut the paper. So now I cut the paper and it looks like a circle, right? Now I need to divide this in two pieces, right? In two parts. So if we keep the ruler here on this center, right? This is the center of the circle. So keep the ruler here, and you can divide it. You can divide the circle into equal parts here. So just draw a line segments. And this is the diameter of the circle, which divides the circle into equal parts, right? 1 and 2. Now, what we are going to do next, we have to make a 90-degree angle here on this point. So we will draw another diameter here on this place, right? So then the circle will be divided into 4 paths, right? 4 equal paths. So how could we draw a 90 angle here? Draw a right angle here on this point using this tool, right? So just keep it here on this place, all right? Make sure it's correct. And then here I have the 90 degrees, so I will point just this place, right? Here I made a point, and now I will join the point here to this center. Look at this. So with this way, I divided the circle into 4 parts. Similarly, you can divide the circle into many parts, right? So now, this is 90, this one is also 90, 90, and 90 degrees, right? All 4s are 90 degrees. Now we have to divide each part into further parts, right? So, for example, this one is a 90 degree, right? These 2 line segments makes a 90 degree here. We have to divide it into 2 parts. So what could we do here? We'll use this tool, right? Just put it here on the center. Make sure it is correct. And then if you divide 90 by 2, it will give us 45, right? We need to find the 45 here. This is 40, right? This one is 40 here, and this one is the 45. So we will just draw a point here. And then we will just join this point to the center, right? So I divided this part and this part equally into further parts, right? Same thing we will do here with this angle. This angle is 90, so we will divide it into 2 equal parts here, okay? Put this thing here. Now this is 90, so if we divide 90 by 2, it will give us 45. So this one is 40, here's this one, 45. So I'll just draw a point here. Then I'll join this point to the center. And this way I made 8 parts in this circle, right? Now, similarly, the same way we will use to divide this circle in so many other parts, right? Now, each of these angles is 45 degree, right? 45. So we will divide each of these angle in 2 parts, right? So for example, I take this angle here, this one and this. I divide this part into 2 equal parts. So I will divide 45 by 2. So when we divide 45 by 2, it gives us 22.5, right? So I'll just keep this tool here, and it should be like this. And if you see, this angle is 45 here, so I will divide it into 22.5. So this is 20, right? As you can see here, is 20, and 22.5. I think it could be this place. We cannot just point the exact thing, but it could be near to it. So I made a point here, and now I will join this point to the center. Similarly, you can also divide these other parts in 2 parts, right? So these are 45 degrees, and you can divide it into 2 parts with the help of that D. This way I divided the circle into 16 parts, right? Now we have to cut these parts of the circle, right? So I'm just doing like this, and similarly you can do the whole process with the whole circle. In this way, I divided the circle into 16 equal parts, right? 8 parts I colored with blue, and 8 parts I colored with red. So I collected all the parts of this circle, and I colored with blue and red. So as you can see here, the circle has been made, and as you can see, this whole length around the circle, that is called a circumference, right? And as we know by the formula, circumference of a circle equals 2 into pi into r, right? As we see, half of the circumference that is blue and half of the circumference that is red. So if you find the length of the circumference that is blue from here to this place, right? So you'll find it, you can find it here. I just wrote it here. Length of blue part that equals half of the total circumference, right? This is the total circumference, and this is, I took the half. So 2 will cancel 2 here, and we can get pi r. So pi r is the length of this blue side, right? The circumference. And if we find the circumference of this red area, this red, so we can say the length of red part here is half of the total, right? It is also half of this total circle. So we divide, we take a half of the total. This 2 will cancel this 2, and we can get pi r as an answer, right? So both are the same because they are both the half. This length and this length both are the same. If we rearrange this circle, we can make a parallelogram out of it, right? So how do we make it? Let's do it. Okay, so I rearranged this circle, and now I'm making a parallelogram out of it. So this one is red one I took first, then we put the blue one just opposite to it, right? Just like in this way. And similarly, you can put many others in this way, right? Just put the red here, opposite to the blue one, and then put the blue. So now I made a parallelogram out of the circle, right? And if you find the area of this parallelogram, that will be the area of the given circle. So parallelogram looks like this shape, right? And we know that the area of parallelogram equals base multiplied by altitude, okay? So actually this figure is a parallelogram here, and this is the base, or you can take this one as a base. So actually this is the blue length, right? It's the blue, and on the top, that's a red length, right? So as we know that the length of the blue part that equals to pi r, and also the length of the red part that equals to pi r. So this length will equal to pi r, okay? And also this length is equal to pi r. Now let's find the altitude. So the base we found it here. The base is, this is the base, and we found it. That is a pi r, pi into r radius, okay? Now we're gonna find the height, okay? The height or the altitude. So altitude is just a perpendicular distance from this point to this point, right? If you find the perpendicular distance from this point to this place, so that will give us the radius of this circle, because this is the center of the circle, right? These sharp points are the centers of the circle. This one and this one, this one. These are all the centers of the circle. And this one is the circumference of the circle. So a distance from the center of a circle to the circumference, that is called a radius. To here, so here the altitude is equal to radius, right? Altitude equals radius. So I wrote it here. Area parallelogram that equals base multiplied by altitude. So base is the pi r, right? You found it here already. And altitude here is the r. When we multiply these two, so it will give us pi, and r is 2 times, so we will write it as pi r squared. So this is the area of the given circle.